Hello friends, and welcome back to Picture Astrology. In this series of planets through various houses, today we will learn about placement of Saturn in the third house for Libra Ascendant horoscope. So we have the seventh sign, which is Libra, rising in the horoscope, and Saturn, who is a Raj Yog Karaka for a Libra Ascendant. That planet is sitting in the third house of Sagittarius sign. And as I am making this video, currently also Saturn is transiting the Sagittarius sign. So this video will have extra relevance in today's transit as well. So let's see how the planet Saturn behaves for a Libra Ascendant. So we have the very first sign of Libra rising, and Saturn is placed in the third house. But we know that Saturn is lord of two signs, Capricorn and Aquarius, and these two signs happens to be in the fourth house and fifth house respectively. So we have Capricorn here in the fourth house and Aquarius here in the fifth house. So Saturn is the lord of fourth and fifth. Now according to Vedic astrology, any planet who is simultaneously lord of a Kendra house and a Trikona house, or a cardinal house and a trine house together, becomes highly benefic, which is called Raj Yog Karak planet. It is a single planet which can cause Raj Yog for a Libra Ascendant. So Saturn in that sense is a highly benefic planet for Libra Ascendant horoscope. And as we know, one planet of a chart affects multiple things. So this Saturn here will affect third house significations because it is placed here. It will affect fourth and fifth house because it is lord of these two houses. These Saturn has special aspects in Vedic astrology. So Saturn will have seventh aspect on the ninth house, and the 10th aspect will be on the 12th house. So these 9th house as well as 12th house related affairs will be impacted by this one placement of Saturn. And we will try to learn about the key areas and key interpretations in each of these areas. So here is a quick list of high level items we will try to cover in this video. Now let's begin with the first thing. How does this Saturn affects a person's character? Now, most important thing about third house is that it is called the house of courage in Vedic astrology. There are many significations of this house, but this house is known as the Parakram Bhav. And Parakram in Sanskrit, when loosely translated, is known as courage. But what it actually means is it shows the effort taking ability of the person. It shows the hard work of a person. And when Saturn, we know Saturn is a slow planet, and for Libra Ascendant it is one of the most important planets as well. So when this planet is placed in the house of effort, or rather I would say self-effort, what this planet does is that it makes a person a completely self-made one. Now obviously a lot depends on the ascendant as always, which is in this case Venus, but just the placement of this Saturn, you can definitely say that the person's rise in life will be due to his own efforts. This Saturn has an aspect on the ninth house directly, which is the house of luck. And what this Saturn says is that you are a person who make your own luck. You own your luck. You know, you don't depend on others to make you lucky. And so what happens in this case is either a person does not take much help from his family to start something in his life, say starting his own business or anything, he is going to do his on his own. And even if there is some family help, if the family is very well to do, still they would rather do it themselves. And because of this tendency, usually they start work early in life. They have so much tendency to do something on their own that this is a placement which is found in many people who even before their 20s would start earning or start working in some way or the other. And this Saturn is the lord of 4th house. 4th house, one of the signification of 4th house is formal education, like a degree, education which you can show to the world, not the knowledge you acquire as such, but the education. And this Saturn is a little bit adversely placed from this house. So what it shows is that these people have a very practical bent of mind. They like to learn while they work, and they don't particularly like the bookish knowledge. They don't have a tendency to just read books and try and learn from there. They have more of a practical sense. And because of this, many times you would find that they find it a little bit difficult to finish the graduation. In fact, what will happen is they might change their subject in between or start working in between, and because of that they may face some obstacles in education, or they would voluntarily not pursue the full education, rather than prefer work in between. So some kind of issues in finishing the education may arise because of this innate tendency towards practical knowledge. And another important thing when you have Saturn in this place is that you should try and always start with a job first, and then only go into any kind of business if you want. This is for two reasons. One, it is normally observed that people who have Saturn here, they start working early, they gain experience, and then go into the business. And secondly, Saturn in the 3rd house, which shows your communication skills, and at the same time this is the house of beginning of reasoning. This is the house where logical reasoning begins in a human life. So when Saturn is here, these people are kind of slow and steady. They like to fully understand things and then only take the next step. Usually people find them slow to react or act because they are going to first observe all the aspects of a situation. So it is always better for you to get your hands or get yourself involved in a job, so that you learn the nitty-gritties of any particular field, and then only start the business of that field. Now let's quickly talk about siblings. So we saw in the beginning that Saturn is a highly benefic planet for Libra Ascendant. So in terms of siblings, they usually have okay relationship, good relationship, and the presence of a benefic in the 3rd house usually give them more than one siblings, and especially they may have some sisters as well at the same time, more than one sisters. So this is very conducive for having siblings and good relationship with them as well. Now another thing is the aspect on the 5th house. So usually Saturn's aspect on any house shows delay in getting fruits of that house, which is fine. Now in this case though, Saturn is again a big time benefic, Raj Yog Karaka, and this Aquarius sign, which is in the 5th house, is Saturn's own sign, and not just the own sign, it is the Mool Trikona sign or the Trikona sign, which is normally called as. So when a Saturn like this aspects its own sign from a house which is known as the house of desire, it is the beginning of desire in human life as well. So this usually shows multiple kids, more than one progeny. And depending upon other aspects on this house, fifth house, though, you know, they will have, because it is Saturn, the natural tendency of Saturn is to worry. Saturn is the planet of worry. If it will not be an exaggeration if I say that way. So they would, you know, people, they will have a lot of kids, and they would be sort of worried about their welfare, you know, they should do well in life, etc., etc., which pretty much like a normal parent, especially from the Eastern culture. But yeah, as far as having kids is concerned, this is a very favorable position overall. Now let's quickly talk about the fourth house. I haven't talked about the fourth house yet. So fourth house has many significations. Again, we did talk about education as one of those. The other thing is it shows your mother. So Saturn, being the lord of the fourth house, when it is in 12th position from itself, which means one house before that house, so it generally shows that the person might have to stay away from mother because of either work or education or some other reason. I mean, again, the final decision on this can only be made based on the placement of moon, but just this sun position here usually shows not just mother, but a person who sort of gets chance to stay away or stay at a far land from the family, or especially mother and father. And it could also be because mother and father have to work or travel because of work, but they get you know, less time to spend when they are kids with their mother and father. Now, one very, very important thing to note and also to take care regarding fourth house significations is the vehicles. So when fourth house shows your vehicles, your car, your scooter, your bike, or whatever. So when the Lord is Saturn and it is little bit adversely placed, you should be always very cautious in terms of commuting, especially in your own vehicles. So if you drive a car, please drive very carefully. And now let's quickly see what will it do to 12th house, because we saw in the beginning that Saturn has the aspect on the 12th house. So Saturn's aspect, again, Saturn is a benefic planet here, and its aspect on the 12th house, what it does, it makes a person really conservative when it comes to spending money. They would only spend money when it makes sense. You know, they will be very, very cautious about getting the bang for their buck. And the same will apply for other areas of life, like you know, other pleasure seeking activities. They would be very, very balanced. They would not go overboard about, you know, spending night outs or, you know, having fun all night with friends. This is not what they would generally do. However, smoking, that is one area. You see, Saturn, however benefic it is, in the third house with a fiery sign of Sagittarius, does show smoking, and this generally happens when Mars and Venus being the lord of ascendant and Mars being the karaka of any fiery material, when these two are little bit adversely placed, then this Saturn can give a habit of smoking. So please be careful about this as well. So friends, this was my quick analysis of Saturn in Sagittarius for Libra Ascendant, which means Saturn is in the third house. I hope you liked it. Please do like and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.